Hey guys, this is Coach Gaglione here, and today we're talking about starting the bench press from scratch. So how do you learn to bench? Everyone wants to get big pecs, right? Get stronger upper body. So the bench press is a great way to do that, but a lot of people, maybe if they're older, maybe if they're younger, maybe they're not even able to lift the empty bar yet. So we're gonna show you how to progress to the bench press safely and effectively. So there are two different routes you could take. If you are someone that's more athletic, if you are someone that's leaner and lighter in body weight, I do believe actually starting out with push-ups is the answer. So we're going to go through some push-up progressions first. If you are someone who's older, heavier, and you just can't do push-ups, and we're going to show you two different routes, but both are going to lead to the same point. So we're going to go through the push-up progressions first. And the biggest thing with a proper push-up, the proper push-up is going to mimic and teach you how to bench press properly. So if you watched our squat video, it's going to be similar. We're going to do a bottoms-up method. And before I get ahead of myself, excuse me, before you start any program, definitely also check out our assessment. Before you try any techniques, check out our assessment video to make sure you have good range of motion in your shoulders and you're able to kind of bench safely. So we're going to go through the push-ups now. So you could always start off on an angle first, and we always like to start with a bottoms up. So this would be if you're again, bigger or weaker, but starting off at about a 45-degree angle, or if you have a power rack or a Smith machine, you can start off at a high height and then work your way down. So that's a good way to progress your push-ups. We're just going to show you two different versions. So this is like a kind of a good middle ground, but you can certainly start higher than this. Wrist, elbow, shoulder in a good alignment. Good plank position, so my hips aren't too low. They're not too high, somewhere in between. So if I start from the bottom, I'm going to make sure my wrist and elbow is in a good position, good plank position, chest is up, and I'm going to push away. And if I want to just reset my body and just do concentric only reps, that's a good place to start. And again, I'm creating full body tension, rooting my feet in the ground, torquing my elbows in, tightening up back, tightening up the core. As I get stronger, I'm going to do pause and dynamic reps. So if I'm able to do like 10 reps on a 45-degree angle, the next option would be doing bottoms up push-ups from the floor. We don't want our elbows out too much. We don't want our elbows in too much. We want them somewhere in between. So again, we're going to pinch and tuck just like we would, because we're trying to mimic and learn how to get those bench mechanics in. Things they should have already learned how to root their feet. They should have already learned how to breathe and brace. You also want to make sure that we have length through the pec and the shoulders stay down and back the whole time. Okay. If you have some wrist limitations, we can go on our knuckles or just grab some parallettes. So I'll show both. So if I want to go for my knuckles here, if I have some wrist considerations, I could certainly do that. If your wrists are fine. The only reason if your wrists are not a concern, it's a little bit easier to create lat tension with the open hand versus the knuckle. So I would prefer, as far as for transfer and dynamic correspondence and transfer of training to the bench press, the open hand is going to be a little bit better. But if you do have some wrist considerations, grab some parallettes, grab a pair of dumbbells. That's totally fine. So I'm trying to twist my hands in the ground, squeezing my butt, squeezing my core. So I'm going to start from the bottom up, and I'm going to start with just concentric reps only. As I get stronger, I'm going to do the dynamic reps, still with a pause in the bottom. And eventually I can go from stopping on the floor, resetting on the floor, to keeping constant tension the whole time. And again, as I get stronger still, if I want to go to like an incline version, I can put my feet up on a bench, I can certainly do that. So once I'm able to do like a couple of sets of 10 on the push-up, I could add chains, I could add a band around my back. At that point, you can start adding external resistance. Now, if you are somebody that is not strong enough to not strong enough to do push-ups, I would recommend you start off with a floor press. And there's a couple of reasons for this. I'm going to show that. And again, you do this out of a power rack, obviously, but just for demonstration purposes. So what's a floor press, and why is it a good exercise? Well, everyone has a floor. So you can do the floor press anyway, you just need a bar. So that's pretty cool. You can get a handoff from somebody or again, go out of a power rack in the lower pinning setting. Where should you grab the bar? Just, you want your wrist and elbow to be in a position where it's stacked in the bottom, like this. Not here, not here, not too wide, not too close, just stacked. So wherever that grip is, that's where I want you to grab the bar, okay? Shoulders are gonna be retracted. Elbows are gonna be in, not too far out, not all the way in, somewhere between like a 30 to 45 degree angles from the body, okay? The reason why we start with the floor press first, it takes the upper body, it eliminates, the lower body out of the equation. And the floor is gonna be there to kind of spot you and support you. Floor press, I would consider almost like a box squat for the upper body. So we still want that cloud technique, we still want that tension. We don't wanna go through the cloud, we wanna just sit into the cloud with our elbows. So first I'm just gonna adjust my grip. So it's gonna be about your sternum height, so a little bit below your nipple line. And right here, I'm creating a lot of tension here, so I'm not relaxing. So that's a bad position, that's a good position. I'm going to press up and slightly back. So my wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in a straight time. I'm squeezing with my pinkies, I'm creating torque with my upper back and squeezing my stomach. Pause, push. If I'm able to do sets of 5, sets of 8, sets of 10, then I can start to increase the weight. Again, I'm not relaxing on the bottom, keeping tension. So I feel my triceps are just grazing the ground and then exploding up. A couple of key points. My shoulder blades are retracted, squeezing the bar with a closed fist, keeping tension, driving up. So that's the floor press. From there, we're going to extend the range of motion a little bit. And we're going to do a feet up bench press next. So again, still working on upper body position. So we're not worried about the legs just quite yet. And with all these variations, I would recommend a pause if you can. And starting off with a women's bar and then progressing from there. So the feet up bench is going to extend the range of motion a little bit from a regular bench, but we're going to learn good upper body position, tension, and control. From there, we're going to do a regular bench press setup with our legs out, chest up. And if you're weaker, we could certainly start off with a touch and go. But if you could start pausing right away, that'd be the best option. Your leg position is going to be very similar, if not identical, to your squat positions. If you've already learned how to squat, you're going to learn how to set up your feet for the bench. Again, we want that wrist and elbow stacked in the bottom, pushing up. Once you're able to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reps, you can increase the weight. And we're going to show a little bit more on how to set your feet. So we're going to bridge up, left foot down, right foot down, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Pull the bar out, pause, push, pause, push, pause. So I'm pushing through the floor and away here. Okay. So, let's say you have some sort of shoulder limitation. So like with the squat, our modification was a safety squat bar, or you use a different box height depending on your hip limitations. If you have a shoulder limitation, you could use a squat sponge, add a squat sponge to the bar, add a shoulder saver pad, add a towel. Many different options you could do if you can't go full range. You can certainly progress the range of motion as well as the weight. Think about what the athlete has in terms of range of motion. What can they own? What can they control? And what can they tolerate? Should be pain-free, okay? So again, from a push-up standpoint, I recommend if you could start off with push-up progressions, or you could do both at the same time. Start with the bottom-up push-up on an angle. If you have a Smith machine, you can work your way down to the floor. Once you're able to get down to the floor, work on the bottom-up push-ups, and then you can start to work on normal dynamic push-ups. Once you master the push-up, master the floor press. That's partial range of motion. Then you're going to master the feet-up bench press, master the full range of motion without any legs or any leg drive, and then you're going to master the touch and go bench, and then the pause bench. And then after that, you're just going to always pause your presses. And touch and go does not mean bounce. It's a controlled touch and go. Keeping the wrists and the elbows stacked in the bottom, shoulder blades retracted, pinch and tuck. Your feet position is going to be the same as your squat, except you're going to be lying down. So that's the bench press from scratch. If you're someone who's got to learn how to bench press for the first time and you want to get them involved in fitness and get them involved in upper body training, I recommend this is a great place to start. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to the video. Check out the links below if you want to support the channel. And until next time, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.